All right, thank you for staying with the Monday Report. Dr. David Gikungu is still here with me, Kenya Director, Kenya Meteorological Services. And Dr. I think where the confusion comes is most people are comparing this to the 1997 El Nino. Is it going to be as intense or less?
Trevor, the forecasting sometimes gets tricky. And as I may have in the show mentioned earlier on, no two events are the same, okay, though the drivers may be the same. And at this time, we are monitoring the situation, and we are seeing that all the drivers are indicating that we have El Nino. About the strength, about the intensity, we may not be able to tell right now, but we have no reason to expect that it will be less or that it will be more.
Okay.
But the issue is that we will have El Nino enhanced rainfall,
okay, for
the season, because the season is with us.
Okay.
Yes.
And enhanced rainfall, you mean above average?
Enhanced rainfall means, yes, above average. Average, we are talking about what we have observed over the years.
Okay.
Take 30 years, because that is the guide that is given by World Meteorological Organization for you to make decisions that make sound climatology. It cannot be less than 30 years.
Okay.
So if you have your data for 30 years, the figures that you have for that, the average for any station,
yeah,
you compare month by month,
okay,
what you have observed, you will be able to tell whether it is less,
yeah,
or more.
Okay.
This time round, we are expecting that most stations are likely to receive more than the average rainfall that they have been observing over the years,
okay,
or more than the figure that makes for climatology in that particular station.
So Dr. when you say we have no reason to expect that it will be less or that it will be more, in a nutshell, we don't know.
Did I really say that? I said we have reasons to expect it to be higher.
Okay.
Yes.
Higher than 1997.
Higher than normal.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
About 1997, that is a different story.
Okay.
Because the drivers are not indicating whether it is going to be higher than 1997, okay, or less. What we are seeing is that just as happened in 1997,
yeah,
the Indian Ocean dipole,
yeah,
and the El Nino signal, they are speaking the same language. They are indicating that we will have a situation, yeah, that leads to enhanced rainfall over most parts of the country.
Okay. So yes, the conditions then are the same as the conditions now?
There are some similarities.
Okay.
Yes.
And which parts expect enhanced rainfall?
Most parts of Kenya we expect most parts of Kenya to have enhanced rainfall.
Okay.
The impacts may differ because the terrain is different. The places that are high ground, you may not have, and maybe the terrain is rocky. The level of comfort is different from low levels.
Yeah.
There are also places still in the highlands like Elgeyo Marakwet, some parts of Murang'a, some parts of Kericho, where we may have some landslides.
Okay.
And the impacts may still be different because the level of preparation is different. We have been giving this information time and again, and we expect that people will heed to that information.
Yeah.
And therefore, when we talk about devastation, the natural devastation may happen, but we may not lose lives the way we've done in the past, because we expect that people will take heed to the advisories that we are issuing.
So what should Kenyans expect at this particular point? How will this El Nino season manifest? Are we talking about hailstones? Are we talking about flash floods? You've mentioned that there are certain areas that there might be some mudslides and landslides.
What we are also seeing, and it is on record, is that the temperatures are very, very high this year. And 2023 is actually on record as being the warmest year. And with warm temperatures, you have a situation that makes it possible for thunderstorms to form. So it's going to be quite thundery when the season starts. And there are places that are quite prone to thundery activities, especially in parts of Western Kenya. But even in the central parts of Kenya, we have quite a bit of that thundery activity. It's less over the coast, but where temperatures are conducive for that, we will have that. When I was describing the areas that are likely to be most affected, I should also have mentioned the northern parts of Kenya, especially the northeastern parts, where you have vast portions of land that are relatively flat, and they get really flooded. And homes are marooned, and some of the things that happen there are things you may not want to see repeated.
Okay.
Waterborne diseases follow because the situation is conducive for breeding of mosquitoes and so on. Other diseases such as cholera. And unfortunately, the places that are prone to cholera outbreaks, when we have such floods, people get affected, the populations get affected.
Okay.
Again, when we do not have water, when we have drought, again, cholera outbreaks because it's a matter of hygiene levels.
Yeah. So would you advise the farmers to plant, or will the crops be washed away with flash floods?
This is a good time to plant the crops that at times don't do well in some parts. For example, in the southeastern parts of Kenya, the vast portions that we refer to as Ukambani. When we have El Nino events, that becomes a good time to harvest a good crop, especially maize. And there is no reason why people should not plant. Of course, over the lowlands, some crops may be swept away. But farmers are likely to reap a good harvest this time round. Okay.
Let me sneak in some questions coming through, Daktari, from the viewers, and they'd like to know about this. Trevor Mbija to Citizen TV Kenya. Let's bring that up and see what's going on and what your questions are to Daktari here. Babu Michael says, Trevor, can you please start by asking Daktari, how do they do things? For example, how do they do their predictions? How do they know that they forecast in detail, like the amount of rainfall in milliliters, the areas that will receive the rainfall, etc.? How do you do your things, Daktari? Operations?
I will explain very simply.
Yeah.
We've been to school.
Okay.
And this is what we are taught to do.
Yeah.
I've talked about recording data, recording rainfall, among other parameters that make up the weather system. Those records are useful for analysis.
Yeah.
When you want to become a forecaster. Apart from the analysis that you will do with that kind of data, there is also observation of clouds, satellite systems, and to get there, you need a background of mathematics and physics, because you will also do modeling.
Okay.
This time round, we are talking about a meeting, not necessarily physically, but a meeting of minds, where the models that we are using to verify what we are seeing are agreeing with the models that are being run by other scientists all over the globe, using good computers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that is how we do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's bring up another question and see here. Ngure Ngati says Dr. Gikungu should clear the issue. How come he's now saying El Nino might not be like we were expecting? Is it a game of chess? Not sure. Lots of guesswork. So clarify this, Daktari. How come you're now saying that El Nino might not be like we were expecting? But that is not what you said, though.
I have not said that.
Yeah.
Those are the words of somebody else.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, and I will repeat myself, is that no two events are the same.
But El Nino is here.
But El Nino is here.
Okay.
Yes. So what we have been expecting since we started forecasting this event is that we have been seeing a build-up of events that lead to an El Nino event.
Okay.
And the models that we are using are confirmed with what we are observing, and this is worldwide.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is going to start in 2 weeks. When will it subside? November, December?
In some places it will subside in December.
Yeah.
In some places, especially towards the coast, the eastern parts of the country and the coast, we expect the rainfall to extend into January 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Should people in lowlands then move? Because you mentioned that in lowlands there might be flash floods as well. Should they move, relocate?
Good question, Trevor.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are places where people live, and there ought not to be anybody living there, even when we are not talking about El Nino, in those lowlands. And I think people know that they are living in wrong places, going by the history that they have had. If you are in a place where any little rain gets into your house, and in an event like this one, it upsets everything. You are probably in the category that we are addressing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's time to relocate.
Yeah.
If the government can move some people, even if it is temporarily, just for the sake of saving human life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's bring up some of the questions and finish up on this conversation. What makes it difficult for Kenya when it comes in predicting the weather? Because in the US, they even go extra mile to give an actual period and time. I think that has already been addressed by Daktari. Waita Sam says, in the lucky event that the El Nino phenomena does not occur, what happens to the 10 billion set aside for mitigation? But Daktari, you've clarified that this is happening.
Yes,
the El Nino is happening. There's no left or right about it. Okay.
And if you want me to add something, I don't think there is anything that the groups that are taking measures as advised that is useless. If you are restructuring a road, even if the El Nino rains fail, we have the road. If you move populations from lowlands to higher grounds, you have done them a favor. There is no loss from the activities that we have engaged in, or the government has engaged in, or even the governmental friends have engaged in, that is going to get into maybe waste.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Daktari, as we wind up on this conversation, after El Nino, there's always La Nina. Is that also predictable from your side? Are we going to have a drought, a prolonged drought season?
Yes, a number of years El Nino has been followed by La Nina, but it is not a given that it is always so. Sometimes you move out of El Nino and you go into a normal year, where you have your rainfall in place in terms of the expected season. Yeah.
Okay. Daktari, thank you so much for making time. Dr. David Gikungu, the Director, Kenya Meteorological Services, he says El Nino is here with us. It is going to intensify in the next 2 weeks. If you're in lowland areas, you need to probably move and avoid the flash floods that are coming there. And you should expect a bit of enhanced rainfall in different places across the entire country. That is the conversation we're having throughout the week as we head into El Nino and show you the preparations that are being taken in different places. But most important, take care of yourself. Be a bit cautious. This is happening, all right? So we're taking a quick break here on the Monday Report. When we come back, there's still a lot more that I need to run by you and then get into sporting action, all right? Bye for now. See you in a short